This is Erin Hobson with Rhinebeck School of Music, and I am going to do a little series on the 12-bar blues chord progression for my beginner blues and rock guitar players. So before we get into the form and how to play the 12-bar blues and variations on that, I'm going to talk about what a 1-4-5 chord progression is, because your 12-bar blues is based on that chord progression. So it's kind of like the foundation of everything. And most of my students, they just want to learn that by rote, what the progression is, but they don't really want to get into how to transpose it to different keys or how to really understand the foundation of it. So first of all, what is a 1-4-5 chord progression? You might have heard it before, heard of it before, and really what it translates to, really what it means is the number that the chord is within the key, right? So everything in music is alphabetical. It's just counting through the alphabet. So the musical alphabet is A, B, C, D, E, F, G, back to A. But then of course you have sharps and flats. Sharps are your hashtag symbol, your pound sign. Flats are your lowercase b. So in between certain notes you have sharps and flats. E and F and B and C do not have a sharp in between, but all of your other letters do. So taking that basic knowledge, let's say we want to play a 12-bar blues in the key of A. Well, whatever your key is your 1 chord. So A is your 1 chord. Now we're going to count through the alphabet. So if A is 1, we go to B is 2, C is 3, D is 4. So you just went through the alphabet. A, B, C, D is your 4 chord. You go up 1 more to your 5, E is your 5 chord. So A, D, and E are your 1-4-5 in the key of A. So this works with easy keys, like the key of C, the key of G, D, A, and E, which is what most guitar players play the blues in. Those are the most common keys. So say we want to do it from the key of C. Well, the key of C. C is your 1 chord, C, D, E, F is your 4 chord, G is your 5 chord. And you can do that with all of the keys that I just listed. So that's a really simplistic, beginner, no theory approach. However, it gets a little trickier when you have sharps and flats involved in different types of keys. So another way to think about it is how the 1, the 4, and the 5 chord line up on the guitar neck. So I'm going to display a little guitar fretboard diagram with all the notes written out, all your natural notes, which are A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and all your sharps. So this works if your root is on the top string somewhere. So for example, if I went to F on the 1st fret of the E string, my 4 chord is just the string below it on the A string, same fret, 1st fret, and my 5 chord is 2 frets over from there, still on the A string. So 1, 4, 5. So F, B flat, C. Now I can do that from anywhere. Say I want to go from F sharp, B, C sharp, same pattern, right? I went from the 2nd fret on the E to the 2nd fret on the A to the 4th fret on the A. You can do that from anywhere. Say I want to do it from B flat on the 6th fret, B flat, E flat, F, 1, 4, 5. So that's another kind of cheat way to figure it out. And that is good because you can do keys that have sharps and flats in it too. Another easy shortcut is if you're familiar with the circle of fifths or the circle of fourths. I've talked about this in previous videos, but I'm going to display the diagram and I'm going to show you how to find the 1-4-5 using the diagram. So the circle of fifths goes in a clockwise direction. So if you start on C and you go to G, C to G is an interval of a fifth. G to D is another interval of a fifth. D to A, etc. So the 5 of C is G, the 5 of G is D, the 5 of D is A, etc. And you keep going around. That way you have your fifths. If you go counterclockwise, you have your fourths. So from C to F is a fourth, F to B flat is a fourth, etc. So F is the 4 of C, right, etc. So to find your 1, 4, 5 using the circle, you put your root in the center, right? And if fourths go to the left and fifths go to the right, so say we have C in the middle, we go to the left, we have our 4 chord, which is F. We go to the right, which is our 5 chord, G. And you can keep doing that in any key. So say we went down to B flat. B flat, if we go to the left, we have E flat. If we go to the right, we have F, our 1, 4, 5. So those are kind of easy cheat ways if you don't know music theory and you just trust what I'm telling you. But I'm sure you have a lot of questions because we haven't really talked about the foundation of intervals and what an interval of a fourth and what an interval of a fifth is, right? So if you're still a little foggy, I'm going to explain that really quickly. So an interval of a fourth, you start on a root, say I'm on an F, and you go a whole step, and you go another whole step, and you go a half step. So that's a distance of 5 frets, right? I started on F and I went 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 frets, and there's my B flat note. So from F to B flat is a fourth. A fifth is just 2 frets higher than that. So a fifth is 7 frets from whatever your root is. So if I use F as an example and I go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 frets, I have my C. So that's 2 whole steps and a half step and another whole step. So you can use your guitar fretboard diagram to figure this out until you really get to know the notes on your fretboard. And that's more intuitive. So you can see why this is just like an easier way to figure it out. If you're on the top string, you go down a string, and then over 2 frets you have your 5 chord, because counting up from the root that far takes a lot of time. And it's a little bit more of a hassle than just thinking everything is right there. Here's my 4th, here's my 5th, and that happens from anywhere. Here's my 4th, here's my 5th, here's my 4th, here's my 5th. That's just how it lines up on the guitar. Another easy way to think about fourths and memorizing the order of fourths is using bead gukov. So the order of fourths, you can spell this word B, E, A, D, G, C, F. So if you try to pronounce that, it's bead gukov. And then after F, you can go through all your flat keys. B flat, E flat, A flat, D flat, G flat, C flat. And C flat is the same as B. It's the same note. So then you're back to the beginning again. So that's just another shortcut to use if you're thinking, okay, I'm on B, what's my 4th from B? It's E. And then if you go a whole step past E, you have F sharp, and that's your 1, 4, 5 in the key of B, etc. So this takes a little bit of time and practice, obviously, to get down to a point where it's intuitive. So the more that you play 1, 4, 5 chord progressions and play the blues in different keys, this is going to become way more intuitive. And hopefully, some of these methods will work for you as a shortcut, or, trying to think in long term as, what the actual theory is of these intervals. So now that you understand how to form a 1, 4, 5 chord progression, most likely if you're a beginner rock or blues player, you're mostly going to be playing in the key of A or the key of E, because those keys lend very well to open strings on the guitar. So those are easy keys for guitar players. If you're venturing into the jazz realm, you're probably going to play a lot in B flat, because the horn players, that's their key of C. So that's an easy key for them. So you'll probably be ending up playing in B flat a lot. So it really just depends on where you're at in your studies. but it is good to be able to play the blues and interpret a 1-4-5 chord progression in any key. So, with that said, in my next video, I'm going to talk about the basic form of the 12-bar blues and how to memorize that form, and then some really basic, easy variations on that form. Then from there, we can talk about the pentatonic scale and how to create certain melodies over that form, or little lead lines over that form, little guitar fills, things of that nature, and getting into different types of chords, etc. But this is the best place to start, learning the 1-4-5 chord progression. So, if you haven't already, visit www.rhinebeckschoolofmusic.com and subscribe. Become a patron, www.patreon.com/rhinebeckschoolofmusic, and I'll see you at the next one.